Today, I'm chatting with Amanda Georgiev, glass-blowing artist and co-founder of Melbourne-based studio Hot House. Amanda's boldly known in the design community for her artistic use of colour. She makes the kinds of things that you just want to touch and that are guaranteed to make you smile. She's able to transform the mundane into magic and brings this colourful spirit to all areas of her life, including her wardrobe. Despite Amanda's larger-than-life style, she's able to see through the looking glass of coronavirus and has taken this opportunity to excel. And it's the little things that are defining her style at home. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah.
Monday.
Oh, as if Monday's any different from
I know. I know.
I think Mondays are better now, actually. I'm like, yes, my kid gets to go to daycare. I get to go to the studio. It's pretty good.
Yeah. So you're at home today, though?
I'm at home today, and then I'll head into the studio after this.
Oh, thanks for joining me today.
Okay.
I when I reached out to you, I think I mentioned that I've been a big fan of your work for a while now, and I got onto you. I was working with Bryony Fitzgerald. Do you know Bryony?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and she told me to have a look at your stuff.
Yeah, cool.
But it's like you're spoilt for choice. It's like when I look at your products, that it's like going to a lolly store. And I feel like I really just want to come into the studio and play. You know, it's hard to do it virtually.
Absolutely, yeah. We can't wait till we can open up properly. Like, our showroom's pretty cute and lots of good products. So yeah, it's looking good.
So I particularly love your glass bonsai. Now,
thank you.
They're called Yumi Miru. Is that right?
Yep, that's right. It roughly translates like daydream, Japanese daydream, and so that was I was kind of obsessed with Japan and had been quite a few times, and those works are a response to that, and they just became pretty popular, I guess. And so now I've been making them for nearly 10 years, and they're my best-selling product line.
Yeah. And so what the like you said, they were it means daydream.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So talk me through that.
I just went through a period where I probably still now, like, I think of Japan nearly every day. I've been 4 times now. So I just love everything about it. And I started off making really different works that I thought, because I went to Japan for a residency, and then I had one idea, but coming home, I think I was really inspired by the gardens, like all the back street little alleyways of the burbs, and they had these beautifully manicured shapes and trees, and so that was my response to those.
Yeah. And so obviously it's inspired your artwork. Does it come out anywhere else in your life?
We eat a lot of Japanese food.
Yeah.
I just like the aesthetic. That's my favorite thing. I really like that. I don't know. It's just the most incredible place because it is both dualities. Like, there's old and new pair. There's like crazy in your face assault of technology and advancements like that. But then you can turn a corner and then there's a tiny shrine. Like, I just feel like they've nailed it. They've got everything. They don't, it's neither super modern or super old. Everything pairs beautifully. So I think that's my favorite thing about it.
So what you're saying about the contrast is you kind of have this part of that's so like clean and everything's like so precise, but then the street style is so wayward, like it's so out there and so creative,
creative.
So do you find any of that comes into your, like, any of that Japanese influence comes into the way you dress?
I don't know, actually. I go between, because I work and I love working so much. Like, it's either got to be durable for me. So usually I have a work uniform is either work shirts or it's overalls or coveralls, but then that's pretty drab. So either I wear lots of stripes, I like big earrings, or a headscarf or stuff like that. So you're not feel like you're bogged down. You can, I don't know, even though it is a job, you have to dress for safety, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be just all into muted tones of black or something. So yeah.
So tell me, how did you get into glass blowing?
I started, I grew up in Adelaide, and they have the Jam Factory, Contemporary Craft and Design. So I always knew that as a kid and got to watch it and thought it was pretty cool. Like, they were the coolest things I'd ever seen. And then when I was studying visual arts, I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do, but just went straight from school, and that was one of the electives at Underdale, and that was still a campus. And the teacher that I had there was just really amazing, Gabriella Bisotto, and she was really supportive, and I think it was really up to her really that I continued, because then, you know how uni gets, sometimes timetables you can't continue. So I didn't actually blow glass again from that first year of uni until I moved then to Melbourne, and just again a bit lost and thought I'd take a punt. And when Monash was still running, and I applied to study full-time in fine arts and major in glass, and then everything just kind of snowballed from there for me.
Yeah. Were there a lot of girls choosing that as an elective?
Yes, there was. And there is still so many. For a while there, when I was going up in the Jam and I did my associateship there, there's definitely more female glass blowers than males for a while.
Really?
Yeah, it changes. But like, even when I think about practicing artists now, or it's probably evened out again. But yeah, for a while there, definitely more chicks blowing glass for sure.
Yeah. And how does it go in the industry, like in terms of being a glass blowing artist? Like, how does that work for you?
In terms of male and female identity?
Yeah, gender identity, and
it's very interesting because I've traveled also to the States a lot for glass blowing, and for sure in the States there's like a dude mentality. Like, I've taken classes and stuff, and there's a lot of dudes just seeing how big they can make stuff and slinging stuff, and then they're, you know, I've worked with lecturers and stuff there, and I've had guys come and go, "Oh, do you want me to take that for you?" I was like, "No, mate, I've got it. It's okay." And then they'll be real. They just don't even. That's a small percentage, but it is a vocal part. I always feel it every time you take a class. There's always that dude mentality, and then they don't even think that you might be able to actually do what they're doing or do it better. So
yeah, well, you do it very well.
It happens here in Australia, because there are so many female glass blowers already.
Right. Do you think that it's like glass as an art form has become something that's come back in fashion, that was kind of had a moment of not being so popular?
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. I think in the 80s, glass blowing was all about production for homewares, like really glasses, drinking glasses and vases, dinnerware. And it was just like crazy, make. And then I guess I saw it shift. I guess we had the recession, and that changed it a little bit about what people made. And now I see it's lighting. Like, it's gone into lights, and hand blown lighting is a thing now, which is great because that's a great income. And now I see it shifting a bit more back into homewares. It'll be interesting to see what happens after things kind of go back to normal again. And I think people will go back to homewares because the price point is lower. Like, you know, you see some hand blown lighting and it's like $400 to $800. I don't know if many people will be as willing to spend that as easily. Whereas people might go $100 vase, a paperweight. Oh, I can afford those things. And I think we might I think that's how our studio is going to survive and build itself up until spending happens a bit more freely, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny because I was speaking with Neil Whitaker the other day, and we were saying that, you know, people are going to look for those small things to kind of give them a spark of joy in their home, and that those little things can really make a big difference to the way that their homes are styled.
Yeah, I think so, and I look forward to making those things. I love making small vases, and you know, I worked really hard to launch, and I just started like thinking about Christmas, and I made some Christmas baubles, which
yes, I know, I saw them and I love them.
A bit of a naff name, like, oh God, baubles, but I made some that were just in my studio kind of colours, those peach tones, and I just made them last year just really to gift to my son's daycare carers.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had a response that I did not think possible, so I then created a mailing list, and I've done packaging for them, and I think once we're up and running, I've got my first orders ready to go. So
excellent.
I feel good about making stuff like that, I think. And yeah, it'll be really nice for people to get those little things in the mail to brighten up their home, and they're you know, they're lasting. They're not throwaway pieces. I think glass is a really considered buy for people.
Yeah.
And they hold on to it, they collect it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I've loved coloured glass, you know, since I was a teenager, and I think it's because I come from a Greek household where there's a lot of coloured glass in the house. But, you know, like I have held on to those pieces, and you know, they're scattered around my house, and I like it's just a love. You know, it's why I love your work. You know. So tell me about your background, like what you obviously weren't necessarily doing glass as a kid, but you're obviously then creative, if that's, you know, what you did after school. What was your sense of creativity like as a kid, and how did it come to be?
I think I was always drawing or painting, or always drawing as a kid. And I can remember my auntie giving me, for one of my birthdays, I would have been pretty young, like probably too young, you shouldn't gift that to a kid, but like getting the 72 set of Derwent's coloured pencils, and I was like, whoa, and I totally looked after them, like they all had to go in their little thing, and
because they were number ordered too, weren't they?
All the colours were beautiful, and I just have I guess, thinking about that, an appreciation for the colour from a young age. And all kids like bright coloured things, I think, but to continue it on, and I think it really comes down again to having good teachers. I had great art teachers all throughout primary school and high school that pushed me to keep going, I think, and take it from the next level to not just a hobby, to chase it as a career, I think.
Yeah. And were you always interested in things where you're working with your hands, or?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Like that took a while, because I guess I did more 2D stuff. Like at uni, one of my electives and stuff was printmaking, and I loved that. And I did painting as a major, but yeah, it didn't really click till when I studied glass, that I like working with my hands so much. But now thinking back, it's easy, because I think about stuff like crafting stuff, like with my nan, and I like knitting, and anything where your hands are moving is good for me.
Yeah. And when I've been looking at your you know, I guess looking at your style over Instagram, I love that you have a bit of a Rosie the Riveter kind of look.
Yeah, it just, I don't know, it kind of subconsciously, I don't know. I have quite a couple of my friends in glass blowing the same. I think it's the headscarf that gives it away, but
your love of colour comes out in your work and your wardrobe. What other things inspire your work?
What other things? I think most of my work goes back to the natural world, so plant life in some form, whether it's pattern, colour or form. Most of my work revolves some way around plant life. The last big exhibition I had was at the Museum of Economic Botany in Adelaide, and that was in their incredible natural history kind of museum. We made works to respond to that. So I made things like mushrooms and lots of hot sculpted leaves and plant life. And then, so that was more literal. But then in the colour sense, like I guess the bonsais started off in the colour patterns that I liked were muted greens and, ambers and darker browns. And then people started asking for different brighter colours. So I started making them in brights, but I still like making those in the muted tones more. They're my favourite.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's my dog. He's just waking up.
That's okay. What's your dog's name?
Elwood. He's a miniature dachshund. He's got a big personality.
Favourite. Yeah, I'm guessing you like things with big personality, hey?
I do. Yeah, it's the best.
So Chubby, what's isolation look like for you guys?
I was thinking about that this morning as I was reading an interview online, and I guess my studio is it's just myself and Laurel, so we still go in. My days are Monday, Wednesday, Cass is in daycare, and then Thursday, Friday, I have him with me. Like, we're not blowing glass at the moment, and I really miss that. I miss not making, like, now we should be ramping up. Like, the summer is notoriously quiet, but now we should be getting into orders, and that's just not happening. Like, we don't even know when that will happen. We're building our own furnace, and as soon as we can turn on, I think we'll start it slowly and build it up. So yeah, I miss that bit. I miss glass blowing is really community minded because you're always working with at least one other assistant. So I really miss that. But what's
the community like in Melbourne?
It's more sparse than Adelaide. Like, Adelaide has the hub, Adelaide has the jam factory, so everyone hires there. Whereas Melbourne has smaller private studios that, different little cliques might hire out. So we're hoping to bring the community in and have a space that, everyone comes to us, which I'm really looking forward to. I think that'll be really cool. But yeah, now we're just trying to focus on that build, keep our relationships that we have with our clients. And just all we can do is hope for the best, really. Like, it's gonna come out the other side. It's a bit scary, but try and keep positive, I think, and keep working on new designs for when we're ready.
Yeah. And are you working on designing some of those smaller pieces that people could integrate? Yeah.
I just started putting down on paper the other day. I've had a few ideas about these smaller vases that I want to make, because I think everyone going on these walks and you collect your little things and everyone's back in the garden, and not everyone wants to pick all your flowers at once that you've spent the last 6 months growing. So little small posy vases. I'm really inspired by some ceramic maybe designs from like the 70s. They've got more of a bottle shape, so I'm thinking about those kind of things, and I'm kind of inspired by some pastel colours in like a terrazzo kind of vibe. So yeah, I'm ready to go. Once we turn on, I'll be ready.
So do you think that's how like this time will influence your collection, or do you think there are other things at play, like the return to nature, the value of that in people's lives, given that we're only allowed to go outside once a day for an hour? Like,
yeah, it's precious. I think all those things, I mean, I know they're coming back. Like, you look at how many people are learning to make bread again, and do things like that and just be more, I hate this word, be more mindful. But it's so true. It's like not ravage through your garden and try and grow something you can eat, and yeah, just thinking small a bit, I think is good. I think
Yeah.
it got pretty big, and I think lots of things got away from us, and yeah, I think everyone's always pushing for bigger and better, but I think kind of containing what you've got and really making it the best you can make it is, I think that's how we'll survive.
Yeah. And are you doing that at home as well as, this is one of the things we've been talking about in the later end of this series is, like nurturing what we've got and kind of getting rid of the things that we don't need. Do you feel like you've been going through a bit of that process at home?
Oh, totally. Like we look at what we've got. Our house is quite small, but I mean, we've already rearranged it. Like we totally switched the lounge room around, and it's other sides, and it's opened up more space, and I think it looks great. And we're, all those things we can change and making our home as nice as possible, like repainting. I'm super keen. I've got a coloured wall in the kitchen. I want to change that. We're seeing more art in our bedroom. We've got a pretty sweet peach toned art wall going on. More plant life inside. All those things. Just trying to make your home life as nice as possible, really.
Yeah, yeah. And is there something that you're treasuring from a wardrobe perspective that represents your personal style?
I actually think, I think if it's things that I wear every day, it's my stripes. I have a pretty sweet stripe collection. That's my kind of work uniform, is my long sleeve striped t-shirts. It's so hard because, as I was talking to someone the other day, he's like, oh, you don't dress up anymore or buy nice clothing because you're at home. And it's kind of true. So I think the wardrobe is the next one to have the big cull go through. But for me, I think my most treasured is either those shirts or it's jewelry at the moment. I think my earrings get more of a workout than clothes, really.
Yeah. Why do you like wearing earrings?
I think that's a way. I've always liked big earrings. I have a lot of friends who are makers, jewelers, so I love wearing their earrings.
What are the ones you're wearing now?
These ones are nothing extreme. Like, these were actually gifted to me from my sister, so I like wearing them. But I mean, I have some really beautiful pairs that friends that I've made when I'm overseas on taking a class have made. Tara Reid, those are amazing. She makes earrings out of skate decks. Erin Keys, my friend in Sydney, she makes really beautiful pieces too. So yeah, I like the story that jewelry can tell, and it doesn't have to be super expensive, but it's like the memories you associate with a piece, I think. Yeah. Is important.
And is there a bit of you talked about that they were made out of skate?
Yeah, skate decks. Yeah.
Skate decks. Is there a bit of rebellion in your style? Is there?
I don't know about that. I just like for aesthetics. Like, yeah, earrings, the bigger the better. Bright colours are good. I think if I haven't got, I don't know, a super banging wardrobe, I think I've always got good jewelry or a scarf that can make the boring seem interesting.
And you said you're not, obviously none of us are going out, and yet you wear your overalls for practicality in terms of your work. What do you wear when you're going out?
When I go out? What have I got? I do like brands like this was my latest splurge was the Obus, so I like Melbourne brands. I've got some really beautiful patterned coats that I just bought online, and I like those kind of Obus pieces or Gorman, but then I like the stuff that we found in the op shops as well. That's always But that is frustrating if you can't get that in your size. So that's even more devastating.
Yeah. There's an art to op shopping.
Oh my God, yeah, there really is.
And so when lockdown is over and the crazy parties are starting to happen, what would you want to be wearing?
What would I want to be wearing?
Or what do you have as what would be your favorite coming out outfit?
Oh my God, that's a good question. I want it to be right. Far out. I'm trying to think what's hanging in my beautiful jumpsuits, like my I've got this great one that I wore for exhibition opening, a Gorman one, black and white pantsuit. I'd be wearing that with some really big heels and giant earrings. That's what I
yeah. Awesome. You collaborated with Gorman too, haven't you?
Yeah, we did some homewares quite a while ago. They were amazing to work with. Lisa is killer, and she's really supportive of artists. Like, to give all those, they do lots of collaborations. So I think, that was super fun. I loved it.
It seems like a very natural alignment, though, given that, like, you know, they're obviously known for colour and print and kind of being inspired by nature.
Yeah, I'd love to do it again, actually, because I think they have a really great reach and they have such good customers that appreciate handmade as well.
Yeah. And do you think that's something you'd do again in the future with a different, like, fashion brand?
Yeah, I love doing collaborations. It's just kind of interesting to find what fits, like, because they are so different, right? So we're talking about clothing, so we're talking about homewares. But there's always room to move, like whether it's focusing on a print from a pattern or a certain colour. I like having something to be inspired from and teasing out those little details about how we can make them talk together. It's interesting.
Yeah. And I find that your work is quite, it's relevant to fashion. The colours that you're using at the moment are very much, you know, what's in the fashion world as well. Is there an alignment there is that just what you love and it happens to be that it's translating into the fashion world at the same time? Or
I think so. Like, maybe it's subliminal, but I'm not too versed in fashion and what's happening in current. I'm pretty interested when I see colour, like Dulux colour things come out. And if some of them align, like a colour that I've been using, I always think that's pretty interesting. I'm like, I was ahead of my time. But then again, if you see other colours come out, you're like, I don't know about that one. It's interesting to think about how they could be used.
I read ages ago that in terms of colour trends, you kind of should be looking at interiors before you look at fashion, because the interiors inform fashion. Have you heard that before?
Yeah, it trickles down, kind of trickle effect. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'll be keeping an eye on what you're doing. Well, take care of yourself. Thank you so much for meeting up with me.
Oh, thank you.
Before speaking with Amanda, I imagined her to be spirited and tough, much like her visual alter ego, Rosie the Riveter. Like Rosie, the wartime pin-up girl for female empowerment, Amanda does have a can-do attitude, but it's not all boiler suits and bandanas. There's a down-to-earth ease and a lightness to Amanda that comes with her love of colour and appreciation of the natural world. Whether it be with a set of 72 Derwent pencils, some daydreamy decorations, or just a great pair of earrings, Amanda's determined to colour the world around her with the little things that naturally spark joy.